Space Miner style. Adjust this camera, get it stable. All right, I think we're pretty stable now. So let's make sure. Ow. Oh wow, look at all these, huh? Ding ding ding. There we go. That looks like a nice talk, huh? All right, now I just need to figure out how to. All messages are visible. Hey y'all, Space Miner checking in. Sorry that took a second to get organized. Title of the stream: Naughty Words. Okay, what do I mean by naughty words? Religion, politics, marriage, finances, all the naughty words, right? Well, I don't think they're so naughty. Why are they telling us no? Good morning, Stu. Blisters, my brother. What's happening? Guys, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What time is it now? It is 10:18 my time, or my watch always runs fast, so probably about 10:15, something like that. Anyways, title of the stream: Naughty Words, Religion, Politics, Marriage, Finances. Why are we not talking about these things? Why have they conditioned us to say, no, I don't want to talk about that. That's a naughty. Screw that. Let's talk naughty, right? Religion. You know, we'll just kind of breeze through these, and we can always pull them apart later, right? So, religion. At the end of the day, everybody has a worldview. Everybody has a faith-based opinion. Okay? What your faith is, that's an entire conversation in itself. But good morning, Mr. Crumpler. Guys, I'm going to be ranting. It's going to be hard for me to watch that chat. Let me rant for a minute. I'll catch back up, okay? Everybody's got a religion. Everybody's got a worldview. Everybody's got a faith-based opinion, okay? At the end of the day, there's just too much that we don't know, okay? Next up, politics. If you have an opinion and you're presented a choice and you're going to make that choice, well, they've got the whole thing structured. Red versus blue versus you, okay? So, politics, and it matters. It matters what laws your neighbor wants to make against you, okay? Marriage. Why wouldn't we bless one of the most beautiful institutions that we have, where a man and a woman come together as one flesh and become a person of a sort that is the marriage? You know, it's commitments, it's values, it's ethics, it's morals, it's love, it's prosperity and reproduction. I mean, if it wasn't for institutions of these sort, you know, we just have a bunch of pack animal kids, which most of us do anyway, so how much worse would it be? All right. And finances. Guys, we discuss finances all day, but why won't we discuss what's in our pocket? Okay? Is anybody discussing their finances with other people? Well, that's rude to discuss how much another guy makes. Why? Why is it rude to discuss that? Why have they instilled these notions on us? Why have they instilled these values on us? Why have we been raised this way? And why do I disagree? Well, because I'm Space Miner, and that's freaking why. But anyways, these are the naughty words. I don't know why they're naughty words. Let's talk about it. So, real quick. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Start from the bottom. Stephanie Jenks, welcome in. We got Stu in the house. We got PA. What up, PA? We got Talca in from Chile. Let's see. We've got Mr. Crumpler. We've got Blister and Barnacles, what up, bro? Um, we've got Waters Above. Welcome in, Waters Above. All right, let's start going through these. Anybody got a response to this? Crumpler. And at the end of the day, everybody should be able to state their own opinions on the religions. Religions are just that, religions. Amen to that. I love it. God gave us all free will so that we can make these choices. So it's up to each individual to make their own personal best choice. Yes, that is so true. This is free will, and this is part of being an American, too. PA, and you should pay attention to politics, not ignore the subject, because that's what they want you to do. Absolutely. We born and we die. The rest is up to us. Yeah. Ain't that it? We come in with nothing and we leave with nothing. You know? Hey, Neil, what up? Nose rings coming out very soon. Very cool, man. I look forward to seeing those. And he's talking about those osmiums, man. That's gonna sparkle across the room so crazy. Let's see. True freedom requires bravery. Absolutely. You know what? Let's roll with that. Bravery. Guys, bravery is not possible without fear. Fear of reprisal, fear of repercussions, fear of retaliation and rejection. Something that stuck with me a long time ago is, the things we hate most about other people are often the things we hate most about ourselves. And so one of the first steps in gathering that courage up is you got to take check. What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? What's, let's face it, I'm online saying a bunch of stuff. There will be repercussions. Whether it be I lose a subscriber, gain a subscriber, or I get IRS knocking at my door because they're like, hey, let's talk finances, but no, seriously, you got to be brave. A lot of times I've found that whenever I go to speak out, I always feel really alone. Like, oh man, this is gonna hurt. I'm gonna lose some respect in the crowd. And what I find is that oftentimes there are other people in the room that are like, oh, thank God he said something. I'm glad he said something. Now, yeah, I'd be happy to raise my hand to that. Let's get you an amen, right? And you're not as alone as you think you're alone. There's usually somebody willing to stand beside or behind you, and a lot of people willing to stand in front of you. And you wouldn't know unless somebody raised the issue, because again, they've taught us, they've applied these social constructs onto us, that we're not supposed to talk about marriage because it hurts and it's offensive and you never know what somebody's going through. And I say that's the exact reason you should speak to these issues. Because again, back to that being brave and not being alone, everybody's waiting for a leader, somebody to take a charge, somebody make that step, somebody to make that advance, somebody to break that box so that they can enter in right behind them, Look, not everybody's meant to break the water. I get it. Not everybody's meant to stand in front. That's fine, and that's part of this body that we are. The thumb's not more than the pinky, is not more than the palm or the wrist. You see, and we all got a part and a piece to play. And unless we start playing our parts and playing our pieces and being bold and being objective instead of subjective, we've kind of erased that line between objectivity and subjectivity. And that's a very important line, where like, is it, oh man, you'll hear some people say some wild stuff, but if you kind of flip the burden back on them, all of a sudden they're not willing to stand on it. And there's all these objective truths anymore. Like, I think we all know it's okay to not stomp on puppies, right? I think anybody in the room would be pretty upset at that. You know, that's an objective truth. Now, what kind of puppy you prefer to step on, well, that's a subjective, you see. But, what are your reasons for not? That's a different conversation. The fact is that there's an objective lens, you know. OC Stacker, oh my goodness, people are like piling in. Hi, guys. Missed everybody. Ricky's, Andrea, JV, OC. Good morning, guys. I'm just ranting, y'all. I'm not going to be real good for chat for a little bit. But, these are the naughty words, y'all. Politics, religion, marriage, finances. The religion thing again, religion is a man-made construct. Religion is something that, in my lowly opinion, is something God is actually quite against. He speaks that, he doesn't like repetitious prayer. He doesn't like us falling in that rhythm, and I believe, part of that free grace, free will aspect, of being released from your sins, and not being held captive to that sin aspect anymore, is that it gives you the ability to move with liberty and good conscience, so that you're not bound to these institutions, and you're not bound to the same thoughts, that we're not hindering each other, If you go church to church to church, church to church, we could just look at the, hymns, singing hymns alone. Some people, think it's an absolute sin that you don't show up in a tie, and strum a harp for your hymns, and there's other guys banging drums and rock guitars. You see what I'm saying? And the important point is worship at that point, and so whenever we start getting tied up in these little legalities and these little issues, and we start refining and defining the issues, we start limiting and narrowing others, and that's why that difference between objectivity and subjectivity is important to distinguish. So, yeah, freedom. Yeah, and what is worship, right? Right. I have no idea how many Christians we got in the room or not. I'm just here to chit chat. I actually did want to get to something. Naughty words is a bit of a segue into kind of what's going on in the world the other day. We got a Middle East issue going on, and it's going to affect all of these categories. It's going to be all the naughty words soon. These are religious, territorial, economical issues, or economic issues, and there's no way to avoid it. You can't live. We're not living in a world anymore where you can just stay neutral. It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, if you stay neutral, you're going to get squished, You stay neutral. This is not the time for neutrality. You go neutral, you're going to get spit right out. And I don't care if it's by God or the world, because at some point I'll tell you what, around me, lukewarm, if you really want to offend Space Miner, go lukewarm. Yeah, get wishy-washy and vague and neutral and all that crap. And I'm just going to be disgusted in it. Like, come on, man, make a stance somewhere. Something is right, something is wrong. Okay, so let me make my stance. It's not my prediction. I think this is what the evidence is leaning towards about what's going on here, okay? I'm just going to speak my piece, and then y'all tear it to shreds, okay? Israel, Iran right now, you can't leave Russia out of this, and you can't leave a good portion of the Middle East out of this. Okay, Turkey as an example. Okay, I think we're I think we're in the biblical end times. Whatever that means, whatever the time span is on it, I think the times have been accelerated. I think a lot of the biblical prophecies are coming to manifest. And among those, I think two of them are rearing their ugly heads: Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38. Look, 7 years of tribulation, end of the world, the whole Armageddon battle. Like, we're not even there yet. Let's just back it up. We got a World War III on the way. I think the Bible shows us we got a World War III on the way between the Ezekiel 38, the whole world being involved, protesting, but not doing anything about the issue. I think is showing its head. So Isaiah 17 is the destruction in Damascus. Who is in Damascus right now? Okay. We've got, so Damascus is in Syria, if that helps you all out. Okay. Syria hasn't had a practical functioning government for quite some time. Okay. It's mostly run by proxy. Okay. We have a huge Iranian presence. We have a huge Russian presence down there. And when you start looking at the Russian presence, you're looking at military bases, transports, because Russia's trying to whittle their way they need a land bridge to a warm water port. Okay. They're never going to get that through Korea and China. They're never going to get that through Europe. They're never going to get that through India, you see, and some of these major institutions. So they're trying to funnel their way into the Mediterranean, and they made it as far as Syria. Well, Damascus happens to be about 10, 15 miles from the edge of Israel. Well, it's no surprise that you would have some extreme forces harboring themselves in one of the largest cities in the world, one of the oldest as well. And so you've got Russian forces, Iranian forces, you've got the Muslim nation. You've got a strong Muslim presence. So if Israel was to see critical weaponry slipping into Damascus, but they couldn't quite track where, well, Israel's thrown the warning out before. They'll handle this overnight, which quite coincidentally sounds just like Isaiah 17, the destruction of Damascus. And in the evening, you're there, and in the morning, you're not. It's been threatened. It's close. There could be forces in there. Well, how does this get to Ezekiel 38? Obviously, you wipe out Damascus, you're going to piss off the Muslims, right? You take some Russians on accident, or you call it casualty of war. Well, Russia's going to be real freaking pissed off too. Russia wouldn't mind a distraction from what's going on in Ukraine. And this would be an opportunity to present themselves as a world policing power, like a simulation America kind of thing. Well, so Israel goes in, pop, Damascus is gone, whole bunch of Russians and Muslims from everywhere, from Turkey all the way wrapping around into into Africa. You're going to have a whole bunch of people pissed off at you, and they're going to want to act quick because you've shown how quickly you can act as well, and how destructively, and they want to put an end to it. Well, where's the natural path through? Well, it's going to come right through the north-hand side. Now we're setting up for an Ezekiel 38, where all these nations are gathered against them. Gog, Putin. Gog is a term for a leader, like a presidential / military leader. Gog, G-O-G. Well, Gog of the land of Magog, or Magog, if the land of Meshach and Tubal, Moscow. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Putin is Gog. That's my opinion. Gog and Magog, they're going to, who else would lead that war? You think Iran's going to lead that war? No, Russia's going to lead that war. Russia's going to lead that battle. And everybody's going to come in with the support of Russia, and they're going to storm, and it's going to be real bad for Israel until God comes down and settles the matter himself, leaving 1 out of 6. Leaving 1 out of 6 alive after that, which is pretty freaking crazy. I think an event like that could have a very World War III vibe. World War III vibe like that being put to bed by a world leader could have some mistaken thinking that the end had already come, that this was the Battle of Armageddon. But that's not the Battle of Armageddon. It's a World War III, man. That's the perfect excuse for an Antichrist to slip in, bring in a peace treaty. You see, a 7-year peace treaty. It's the perfect time to slip in. Guys, accelerating times. Look, prophecy has a shelf life. So does war. Like, look, if you don't make any action, you're just an occupying force, and now this is a political nightmare. If you're going to take warlike action, you need to take decisive warlike action. Well, here we are, World War III. We're already in World War III, guys. It's just the conflict hasn't quite escalated. The arms conflict hasn't quite escalated to the point you would expect. But guys, the whole Eastern world is on fire, whether it be economically, politically, religiously. Europe is almost spiritually dead. There's a lot of good spiritually driven people, but for the most part, like a true trusting God before the world kind of attitude is not the same kind of presence like it is here in America. Okay, let's just say it that way, the Western world, because you could include Latin America into that, and we got a pretty big religious population. Guys, again at chat, I'm sorry if I'm not responding. Y'all are really chiming in. I really just kind of wanted to rant for a minute and then kind of make my position clear. That way nobody thinks Space Miner's a lukewarm slug. You know what I'm saying? I have a position. I'll make myself clear, stand on it, and I'm not the type of person that cannot be corrected. So, usually, what I'll have to do is like I did last time. I went back through, watched the live, looked at the comments, kind of give it some thought and stuff. For other stuff I want to talk about, but I really wanted to get this one out of the way because it's kind of like the thing going on right now, and I wanted to give you all some perspective on what I think is going on. So we got this big war going on. You got to expect there's going to be some financial movements and religious movements being made. Again, this is not the time to stand by with money in the bank or your treasures in heaven, for that matter. You got to start stacking your coffers, and you got to start selling your goods and buying fields. And this is what I'm saying is it's time to move, y'all. And it is going quick. Guys, there's some things going on behind the scenes that none of us are privy to, but look how whap. I mean, it's smacking down fast. It's smacking down fast, and times are coming to make decisions. You need to be prepared to make financial decisions. You need to be prepared to make marriage decisions. When one wants to give in to social pressures and the other doesn't, you guys need to already have your mind made up about this. You need to have your mind made up about, from a Christian, I'm going to say this. They're coming at you with a mark. The whole world whatever specific technology, doesn't really matter. It's going in your hand or your forehead, and you're going to have to make a choice. How far you're willing to go. His name, his mark, his number, you know, you're going to take that. Look at how we reacted to the masks. We have to be honest with ourselves, guys. I put on a mask sometimes too. I fought it sometimes. I put it on sometimes. I weighed my decisions. But you take that mark and there ain't no going back, y'all. You take that beast mark. You take that beast chip. Dude, that's it. It is a deciding line. Space Miner, why you got to be so narrow? Because there are narrow choices and narrow doors and narrow paths ahead of us, guys. There's only one wide road anymore, and that's head down, stand in line, follow along, go along to get along. You want the wide road? You want the easy path? Keep your head down. Shut the hell up. Don't make a scene. Do what you're told. When they make the new law, you follow the new law. When they make the new rule, you follow the new rule. You go along to get along. Hey, maybe you'll time it out. Maybe none of the big decisions will ever have to hit your door. Maybe you'll duck this. You'll worm and slither your way through. Maybe. I mean, dude, I can't even look. I'm voluntarily online, getting up here, talking a whole bunch of shit. What do you think? You think I'm waiting? You think I'm trying to keep a low profile? I don't fucking think so. Like, times are coming, guys. And so financially, metals. Don't think while this is going up, guys, don't panic. Do not panic. Okay? These costs are going to go up. But you ain't making money on your gold and silver if you're not selling your gold and silver. You see what I'm saying? Money is only good to be spent. Okay? I know how far that money goes is a whole nother thing. But what I'm getting at here is like, look, guys, it's going up. But at some point, somebody wants to make that money back. It's got to come back down a little bit. They are going to milk you dry. They're going to milk all of us dry. Absolutely. And you can retain your investment, but that means you're not spending your investments either. So what I'm saying is don't panic. You got some ups and downs coming. Okay. You got some buy-ins, buyouts, or buy-in cash outs. You got some time. It's going to get a whole lot worse, and this stuff's going to get a whole lot more valuable. You got time. Okay. But not a lot of time. Okay. Eventually you will be priced out of having a workable amount. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. So what does a wise person do to really retain their spendable value? You make sure that you're not spending your money anywhere else. You make sure that when you want to spend your money, it's because you want to, not because you have to. What do I mean by this? Secure your dirt. Secure your dirt. Stop paying for your dirt. Get the dirt purchase over, secure your dirt. Once the dirt purchase is over, you pay your tax to the king, life goes on, okay? Secure your water. If they shut that down, will you still have water? If they shut those pipes down, yes, it's nice. Yes, it's convenient. You could probably pull some from drainage alone, right? Out of your pipes in an emergency. Maybe you got some stored. Now, would you rather be dependent, or would you rather secure your own source of water? Maybe a well is in order, if you can. I understand some of us just can't do anything about anything, and I get that. I'm one of those guys, there's not a lot I can do about a lot, and I've just tried to apply myself. I've punched myself in the face about all the stuff I want, bought the stuff I needed, and now I can go back to buying the stuff I want. I might not be able to buy much of what I want, but I never worry about buying what I want because I've already paid for what I need, right? Debt free. You got to get debt free. You got a pickup, pay it off. If you're getting ready to buy a pickup, here's what I'd say. How about instead of spending $500 a month on your payment plus your $200 or $200 a month insurance, you take that $700 a month you're willing to spend, you take the deposit amount you're going to have to put down anyways, you go buy yourself an old used truck, and then you just regularly and monthly put the money you were going to put into that payment into your truck. That's where we're at. 10 years ago, I'd say, yeah, go ahead and take a risk. Now, I'd say, stay your ass paid off. If you've got a vehicle that's a burden, take the hit, punch yourself in the face, sell it for whatever you can get out from under it for reasonably. If you can't, stick in it, you're holding your bags, right? But maybe this would be a time to go ahead and, trim a little luxury and put in place some institution, your marriage, again, guys, this is all, if you're not married, don't worry about it. Consider what I'm saying to the married folk, if you're considering marriage. I think it's the most beautiful and wonderful thing that's, next to my children, but I couldn't have done, the marriage and the children came hand in hand. They're unison, they're one, they're parts of a whole. So best thing that ever happened to me, my family. Best thing, it's the best thing that's happened to me in this world is my family. It's Space Miner's most valued thing on earth, so if it's not your wife, if it's not your marriage, consider your relationship with your friends, your family, your neighbors, and believe it or not, more importantly, your neighbors. A lot of people put a lot of investment into people that are real far from them, and whenever stuff goes bad, they ain't got no investments close to home. Get to know your neighbor. Those are going to be the first people you're running into in a crisis, in an emergency. They are your first responders. They are. It's the person that calls the cops. That's the person. I hate it. Look, fireman speaking. I don't like being called a first responder. We're not. It's a logical fallacy. It's a misrepresentation and a misappropriation of authority. The first responder was the person that took the step to make the call, to do something, to run over there. Are you okay? Dude, sometimes just somebody right there asking, are you okay, is enough to bring a person kind of out of it and get them answering questions again, to bring that adrenaline flow down, slow down that bleeding, get calm, start establishing the scene and moving the pieces. That's your first responder. Get to know your neighbors. That's a good investment. So get rid of your debt, whatever it costs. This would be a great time to do it. Get rid of your debt. And that way, everything you make is profit. You see, it's either operational, like logistical operational expenditure, or it's profit. You better make a decision spiritually, because you know what, I thought there could be a higher power. If I'm right and millions of others throughout the world are right, well, wishy-washy, yeah, well, there could be, that's not going to be good enough, y'all. Look, do you want some wishy-washy, freaking vague, arrogant, better play it safe kind of guy? You really want that kind of a guy with you for eternity? Could you imagine waiting at the taco stand in heaven with that guy trying to make a decision? Heaven wouldn't be quite like heaven now, would it? I want the guy that says, yeah, come on, yeah, I got that one, that one, check. Not the guy that's like, yeah, I don't know, I could go tacos or burgers. I I think we've all heard the jokes about that, you know, and it don't hurt to make a decision. And you know what? In like times of war, that's one of the things they stress to leadership. Make a decision. It'll be a good decision, it'll be a bad decision. You don't know until you go through with it. But the most important thing is to make a decision. Make your move. Do something. Apathy is the biggest crime in society. You ask me, apathy is a disgusting behavior. That's my opinion. I mean, of course, there's always the exception, right? You know, there are things to be apathetic about. But, you know, when a good man does nothing against evil, you're not a good man. And it really is that simple. Are you going to do something or not? You know? And those people that have shown themselves to be the wishy-washies, do you want them wishy-washy when it's time for them to have your back? Do you want those kind of people in your life? Do you want to deal with that? I mean, we have to look. We keep creating we keep doing the Band-Aid effect, the knee-jerk effect. We keep putting Band-Aids and laws and rules and institutions and functions and we put all these things so that our lazy asses don't have to take any responsibility, and we just wait to be told what to do. It's destroying our society. We've raised a culture of kids that put on helmets because that's the right thing to do, but they have no fucking clue what it's like to hit their head. They don't really know why they're putting on the helmet because they never bonked their head. You see what I'm saying? The analogy of, mom and mom's mom and mom's mom's mom has been cutting the end off the turkey, off the roast, before they put it in the oven. Little girl's asking why, and they finally go to great-great-grandma, and she said, "Grandma, why have we been cutting the end off the roast?" And she says, "Oh, well, it was so it would fit in the pan, and they had all these miracle reasons, Well, how much so have we done that in our lives? And we've created this culture of sissies and non-critical thinkers, people that'll argue all day for a 55-mile-an-hour sign on the highway, but never have a clue why. They say, well, for safety, these little hot words, safety. It's for your safety. Well, let me explain something. When you're riding a sport bike, right? CBR 600, right? 1,000, something like that. A sport bike is not safe. Is not a safe bike to ride unless you're like getting into the bike. It's not until those G-force, that suspension, is designed to accept G-forces at, 150, 180 miles an hour. Anything less than that, it's hardly being touched. Your suspension is not in a safe operating mode. When you're riding your dirt bike, all the power and traction and control comes from having your suspension absorbing it, living in that mid zone. Where's your power bands through your gears? So when you go slapping some random ass number, you just made it dangerous for different types of vehicles. You made this one really safe, but now it's not so safe for this guy because he can't do the proper speed anymore on his motorcycle to really let his suspension hold him in place like it should. Hold him to the road like he should. Instead, he's just skippy little wheeled board, going across the ground, and that's unsafe for him. He needs to be able to whip into that corner a little bit to really sink in there, put the gravity, put the traction, put this, everything where it belongs. Here's another way of thinking about this. this is kind of it's slight tangent, but I think we're still within the realm of online. Whenever I was a little kid, my grandpa, my great uncles, machinists and welders, and I come from a family of metalworkers, right? And anyways, uh, you'd watch grandpa or one of your great uncles, or you'd watch the guys in the shop, right? Back in those days, machines aren't all fancy. They weren't as all fancy as they are now, right? Back in those days, they were big, clunky, rough, rusting gears, you know. And every now and then something go wrong, and you'd see grandpa get mad and hit the machine and go back to his work. Flash forward, 40 years, and you watch these kids smash their Xboxes in anger because they watched grandpa hit something. But what they weren't realizing was that grandpa, yes, was mad, and yes, he hit the machine. But what he was really doing was he was pissed off that gear was slightly out of place again. And so he smacked the machine to put the gear back into place so he could get back to work, and he was fine. But see, that wisdom, that moment, because grandpa didn't talk about his feelings, never got passed on to the children. So all they saw was grandpa get mad and hit something. And so now when they're mad, they hit something. Because grandpa didn't pass down the ethics that goes with it too. He didn't pass down the morality. He didn't pass down his emotions. And we're human. We have emotions. Why do we ignore this? Another naughty word? Emotions? Well, I'm pissed off. Well, maybe I should be. Maybe I should be pissed off that grandpa was so arrogant and prideful that he thought his emotions weren't important to express. And so whenever his grandson was smashing Xboxes, weren't fucking throwing himself on the floor because he didn't know it was never emotionally put into him that, listen, you're angry because you can't complete your function. Let's sort it out. Sometimes sorting it out does take force. A little bit of aggression, a little bit of power. Maybe grandpa's not strong enough to hit it when he's happy, but when he's pissed off, he has no problem. That gear sinks right in place every time. But he needed to pass on the wisdom. Wisdom is not just education, guys. Wisdom is the accumulation of our experiences, where if we're not passing down the reasons and we're only passing down the protocols, people are going to be going through protocols with no reason. And when the protocols fail, they don't know why the protocols were even there, much less how to fix them. When the companies, these guys are coming in and, working 40 years building up a company, and then they build these machines, and then they refine these machines, and then these machines are running smooth and fast. And they're running so smooth and fast, there's no need for the guy that repairs the machines. We'll just hire it out. Well, that guy's the only one. That guy's the one that built that machine. That guy's the one that maintains that machine. That's the one that made it run smooth in the first place, and you let him go because you lacked the wisdom and only had the education to scratch red over green. Am I making sense? Is this carrying over? Am I just ranting to rant, or is this one of those moments where we should be saying to each other, have we been neglecting this conversation? Have we been putting each other's feet to the fire? Man, you really believe that way? You sure you feel that way about it? Because once you make that decision, there ain't no going back. When you're making law, politics, that guy, whatever the original innocent nature of politics might have been, the honorable function of it might have been, it's beyond that now. These guys get in office and they pump laws in, they don't pump laws out. You see what I'm saying? they go in there with this mentality. Oh, they want me to come in and they want me to make structures and changes and institutions and more alphabet soup, you know? And it's all because we're just not dealing with it ourselves. You know, we think we could just be like, I don't like the way he speeds by my house. Let's put up a speed limit sign and what, not have a repercussion when that same guy you made a law against, well, turns out he don't like your guns. Maybe he wants your silver taxed. Well, he's got reasons. Doesn't everybody do that? Well, yeah, but I have a reason. Yeah, but you see, I can explain myself and give you a reason. So, because I can explain myself and give you a reason that I think is appropriate, well, it's simply good, isn't it now? Because I gave you a reason. Think about the kids. What if? How many of our laws are based on what if? What if? I'm terrified about the dark. What if? We better make a law because, what if? But they always forget the part of the what if is like, because they're like, what if it happens? And I'm like, what if it doesn't? That's an option too. What's with these false dichotomies? What's with these false choices? Why are you always limiting it to, super bad or super not? That's crazy people, guys. And they do it to us all the time. All the time. They expand their power, they expand their authority, they expand the laws, they expand the taxes, they expand the red tape, and next thing you know, you can't get shit done. You're paying every dollar to the damn government, you're wondering why, and then you call 911 to bitch about some guy outside your fucking post office with a camera. 6 cops show up because, what if? And you wonder why this nation is struggling. We need to take responsibility, not just for ourselves, for communities. Not just that, we need desperately accountability. Our government is in desperate need for accountability because a couple guys can excuse some bad behavior because they had a reason, right? They had reasons. They made sense to that guy. It was a good reason for him. And they just go, shoo, and that's it. Life moves on because there's no accountability. How about instead of 55 miles an hour on the highway, how about we nail the jackhole to the wall that decided 55 miles an hour was a good speed to do while 30 children were crossing the road? Can we just nail him to the wall? Can we just take that guy's snacks away and everybody else can have their snacks in class? Why is the whole class got to be punished? Well, what if Johnny's about to throw his snacks again? We just can't have that. What if Sarah or Susie is going to spill their drink? What if? And you get absolutely stripped of everything you had a God-given right to do. They didn't have a reason to take that away from you yet. Did you spill the drink? Did you throw your candy? Did you pull Susie's hair? No. Then you shouldn't have to take part in it. You shouldn't have to be held to that same standard. But that's what we do, guys. We do it with our religion, we do it with our politics, we do it with our marriage, and we do it with our finances. Now look, just because Space Miner's using some aggressive tone, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm flipping switches all day, flipping switches, pulling wires, turning gears, you name it, I think it's okay to be mad in a moment and then not be mad in the next. Like, is it like, look, it really pisses me off. Sometimes I get it. Like, you're just so extreme about it. What? Can't you just tone it down and explain it reasonably? It's like, well, first off, I thought it was pretty reasonable to be pissed off in that moment. And I don't think I should be it was just the worst thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it was just terrible. And I'm just going to talk about it like I'm the happiest guy in the world because it was the worst experience. And obviously, you're going to relate because, of how happy I am about how pissed off I was, right? I mean, that is crazy people, not some guy who had something that he was angry about, something he had every right to be angry about. We should be angry about it. It's a repercussion and a result of something else. When the guy or gal at the gas station is so busy texting on her phone that line is piling up, your frustration and your anger is meant to represent an attitude of distaste and discomfort and present that same distaste and discomfort back on the person. It's a reflection, it's a representation, and it's a way of communicating. It's in the realm of verbal language. Part of that is tone. Next up, body language, nonverbal communication. Squinting of eyebrows, scrunching a face, rapid movements, and yet we treat a guy like crazy. How about just like accept his point for a second? Oh, he's that kind of mad. I get it. And then the guy can kind of go on with his life instead of trying to reinforce his point for 3 hours in a row. You see what I'm saying? Because he feels like nobody's getting it. Why aren't you pissed off too? Why are you not accepting that it's reasonable to be angry in this moment? Maybe if more people express their discomfort, distaste, maybe more people would be accepting of it too. I know when people express distaste in my behavior, it does affect me, and I allow it to. And whether or not I change something, it doesn't matter. But I feel like I have made improvements in my life because somebody was willing to express anger, frustration with me, which, it had to come up to that. I'm not a guy that takes hints very well, I look, I'm just going to assume you're maybe having a bad day, that maybe it's not me you're upset with. It's either that or I got to take it all on myself, and it's like, rather than feeling self-conscious all day, I can just kind of move forward. But listen, if you got somebody in your life and they're just annoying the fuck out of you, maybe just tell them. Like, look, man, sometimes you're kind of irritating. You just kind of drone on. Maybe the guy never knew. And he's like, sometimes I have felt like that, but I didn't realize it was that bad. Man, thanks for pointing that out. I'll keep that in mind. And he gets to grow and be a better person too. Maybe you said something inappropriate and never realized you were saying inappropriate till some chick walked up and smacked you. Like, no. Naughty. Why has everything got to be handled on paper? Like, I'm sorry. Maybe more people should get punched in the face. I'm not completely against that. A semi-violent society or a violent society? Maybe if everybody was violent and ballistic in their behaviors, maybe people would be a little more timid about the way they approach people. Maybe they'd take a little more thought, a little more consideration to I wonder if I should say that out loud. Nah, maybe this isn't the best time. Maybe I shouldn't cut that guy off. Like, It's not too ridiculous to think that, maybe, natural human emotions can accomplish something. Maybe a little bit of aggression. We never won a war with hugs, and I'm going to hope that if your neighbor's beating the crap out of his wife, I'm going to hope and I'm going to pray that you do the right thing and not walk over there like, hey, you should stop that. That's not nice. That you instead grab him by his throat, throw him to the ground, and smash his face like you're fucking melding metal. And like everybody in the neighborhood sees how a wife beater gets treated. Those would come to a close real quick. What if the women getting abused, greeted him with a baseball bat? What if there were more stories of that? Abused woman gets justice, not wife goes vigilante. See, news today says, housewife goes vigilante. It should read, abused woman gets justice. And everybody throws her a damn parade. Fuck yeah. That's my kind of America. I'll get outside and shoot my gun in the air for that. Yeah. I mean, you guys, we live in such a timid and sissy world. And think about it. Look how much evil gets to get gotten away with because we've all been convinced that strongly worded complaints will get the job done. I should file a lawsuit. I should call the cops. Why? They're just going to come over and do the same thing you want to do anyways. Why do we act like it's okay just because? All right, he's got a badge. It's okay for him to beat the shit out of people. He doesn't. Bad guy. Fuck that. It's not about who's badge or no badge. Did you beat the person up for the right reason or not? Was he beating his wife or not? Was he minding his business or not? Is there a victim or not? No victim, no crime. There are some things that should not be tolerated in a civilized society. There are some things that should never be happening. But because we gave our responsibility over and delegated our authority to somebody else instead, we've turned the whole system upside down, where for some reason socially you're supposed to call the cops to come beat the shit out of somebody, then the cops show up, and for some reason socially they're not supposed to beat anybody up, so nobody gets beat up, and then by the time you get it through the justice system, there's been no justice, and everybody goes, that was the right way, and it's like, no. Should have been 3-4 of the neighbors, drag him into the street, beat the shit out of him, ask the wife, good enough? She says, yeah, I think that'll do. You go on your merry freaking way. And that's it. We wouldn't need cops. What do you really need a cop for? You need somebody every now and then maybe to help you track down a stolen item? What if every citizen, I'm just saying, let's consider the cops thing for a second. Let me present a different social construct that we could potentially consider, like policing and policing powers, right? What if instead of having a single police force, what if we got rid of the whole ideology of having stations and dispatch and the whole institutions, and they said, look, anybody that wants to put their hand in on justice, come here, make sure you understand rights. Make sure you understand the basics of law. Let's equip you to use force, you know, and then anybody that wants part has shown themselves that they will conduct themselves in a reasonable manner. Now, I don't think we should have to beg our government to do that, but since everybody's like, no, you have to beg your government because it's the right fucking way. Well, fine, let's all beg our government to say, look, I understand human rights, I understand the constitutional rights, I understand the basics of law, I understand the basics of the use of force. I'm willing to take accountability and responsibility for my actions. I just want to make sure that I don't have to hesitate, legally speaking, about using the force. You see, you could have 911 call goes out. Y'all remember pagers? You know, 911 call goes out. What if like everybody that's taken a test gets the dispatch? How much closer would your response times be? How many more people could you potentially have around in one moment if the cops weren't busy trying to snatch people up for a missing sticker on the back of their car? You see? You guys really want to penalize each other about stickers on the back of your car so much? You know, having a little sticker and a little piece of metal attached to the back of your car. If you're really that adamant about it, fine. Give one asshole a job to run around and hem everybody up for a sticker. Boom! He's moving with economy. He's got one fucking job in life. Sticker patrol. Would you want to fund the sticker patrol? Would you like to see your tax money go to the sticker patrol? Well, it already is, so don't say no. Or do you just like having one guy allowed to sticker patrol and not everybody allowed to sticker patrol? Are you afraid your neighbor's going to sticker patrol? You know? I'm just saying. You ask for force, you're going to get fucking force. And if you think the police force is there for anything but force, then there's no forcing you to understand. You just never will. It's, you know, all men are created equal, endowed by their creator or with certain inalienable rights. Inalienable. For all those of faith, you know, the Bible tells us over and over and over, you know, God's not a respecter of persons. Yeah, you pray for your leadership, but remember, the only reason God gave us judges and kings is because the people begged for it. He never wanted that for us, but they begged for it. I want a king too. He's like, ugh. Then you got your king and you don't like that. Well, we need judges. Fine, have your judges. Have your kings, have your judges. Well, how well did that work out? You know, and that's the only reason we were supposed to have one authority over us and no authority over our neighbor. You know, but we do live in a wicked world. And so there's times that, you know, ideology's got to compete. And the ideology of pro-rapist or not rapist world shouldn't be a hard choice, right? But we keep elevating other people and elevating men and elevating these institutions and these powers and these controls, and we've elevated them so far above us that we're no longer even in control of these institutions. These institutions we've created have become monsters that we can't even affect anymore. You know, because we gave up our right to control ourselves and our right to assemble amongst ourselves and make agreement amongst ourselves has been given away or removed. And if not, that choice is Remember, guys, every time you try to make a law, your neighbor is trying to make a law too. If we gave everybody the right to make one law tomorrow, everybody gets to make one law, and they're all going to be in effect. Is that the kind of world you want? You know? Stack Collector was it? Stack Collector! He was in here too. Later, buddy. Sorry, man. I didn't see it till it was too late. I'm just ranting and raving. Dang it. So, well, I guess maybe this is a little break off point. The naughty words, y'all. Hope you had fun, guys. Hope you got something out of this. Hope we stimulated something, broke a couple boxes up, you know, washed out some lines and stuff like that. I enjoyed having you all in here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your company. I actually feel terrible. I was so busy ranting and raving. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to go back to watch the comments. So, hopefully I didn't lose too many today. If you guys decide to unsubscribe, much love. Good on you. It wouldn't hurt to get an explanation before you leave, but if not, oh well. Anybody new that's joined me, welcome in. Appreciate having you. Dang, I'm seeing some good old names flying through here. You guys, you're awesome. Okay, let me let you go. Let me start wasting your time. Much love for New Mexico. Appreciate having you guys. Responses welcome. You know, I'll play the fool. You tell me how foolish I am. So, Space Miner loves y'all. Space Miner is out, and that's it. Pow.